Hi guys, and welcome back to this tutorial. In this section we will start to look at common mistakes. So as you start programming in Unity with C#, but in any other programming languages, you will make mistakes, and that's quite normal. In fact, the more mistakes you make and the more you learn from them. So again, that's totally normal. So I wanted to go through some of the common mistakes that you might make, and again, those are very common, not to worry, but just to be aware of them, because the more you are aware of them, and the more you will learn from your mistakes, and the further you will go in your learning of the language. So one of the first things that might be an issue is case. So again, C# is case sensitive. So if you write my bike with a B uppercase and my bike with a B lowercase, the computer will see it as two different things. So let me give you an example. Here you have again a code with no errors. If I change this B for B lowercase here and save it, you will see straight away that actually the compiler tells me that basically there is an error here. It says the name my bike does not exist in the current context, which means that for this system, my bike has not been declared yet, which is true because we have not declared my bike when it's spelled with a B lowercase. So again, something to be aware of. And again, this error, the good thing is that you will see it even before you save your file, before you try to compile it, or before Unity tries to compile it, which is a good thing. So again, you will know exactly what the error is. In fact, if you go back to Unity, in the console window, it should indicate at line 23, that's it, that the name my bike does not exist, which is fine. Okay, so this is one of the common mistakes that you could make with Unity. So again, I'm going to change it to B uppercase. So again, when you declare your variable and when you use them, make sure that you use the exact same spelling, and the case as well is the exact same. So again, if a letter is uppercase, it has to be the same in both contexts. Okay, so that's the very first thing. The second thing is you could make a mistake, but this time with a function. And this one is a bit trickier because Unity will not tell you right away. So for instance, here, the start function is a built-in function from Unity. And again, it is launched whenever your scene is starting. So which means that Unity, whenever you write some code and whenever it's going to start the scene, it's going to look for a method called start with S uppercase. And if it finds it, it will launch it at the very start of the scene. So in our case, this will work, right? However, if I put S lowercase and press and save my code and go to Unity, you should see that I probably won't have any errors. Again, if I clear this in a few seconds, if I clear this code there, you should see that Unity doesn't actually tell me that there are any errors. However, if I launch my script, what will happen is that you will not get these messages. Just let me demonstrate right now. So again, if I play my scene, nothing's gonna happen. Okay, so there is nothing in the console window. So then you might wonder, why isn't it working? My code is fine, there are no errors, but it's still not working. I'm still not getting the messages that I've wrote in my code. So let me explain why this is. The reason for this issue is that when you write start with a lowercase s, Unity will assume that you have created a method that is probably not a built-in method, but it is a method that you have declared as start. So it's just a method that you have created. However, it will never be called because first, you never call it from anywhere else, and second, because it's a S lowercase, because Unity is waiting for S uppercase to launch a function called start with S uppercase, the very start of the scene, but this one doesn't have S uppercase, therefore it will not launch it. So again, you will not get any error because syntactically this function is declared properly, however it's never called. Therefore you will not get any error, okay? And again, if I press S uppercase, save my code, same thing again, if I go back to Unity and play my scene, we should get the message. Okay, so what we need to learn from that is if you are using a built-in function from Unity, you can see the message here, so that's working. So if you are using a built-in function from Unity, you need to make sure that you are using the proper case, okay, the right name and the proper case. So again, the same for the function update again. Every frame it will be looking for a function update declared in your code with U uppercase. If you put a U lowercase, it will just not call your function. Okay, so again, something to be aware of as well. All right. So I think that's about it. We looked at case, the idea of uppercase and lowercase and spelling is very important. One more thing I suppose that comes up quite often is forgetting a semicolon. So again, if I remove the semicolon here again, now what is very good with this editor is that it will actually tell you right away that you have an error. So in my case, if I put my cursor right on the red line here, here you can say semicolon expected. So again, it will give you a few tips about what to do. So again, if I put my semicolon here, no more errors. Some other things as well that might happen. You might forget a curly bracket. So again, if I remove it, it will give you a message saying semicolon expected. So again, this is a bit tricky because it doesn't tell you that you have a semicolon, a curly bracket missing. But again, this can happen. So again, I'm going to put it back. But those are common errors. Okay, so again, that's my semicolon here. So some errors or some error messages will be more explicit than others. But what you can do for the semicolons is always to check that whatever is open is closed. So again, you can see here open close. In fact, no, it doesn't do it there, but so again, if you look at this one, so if you select one, you could see that the other one is selected here. If I select this guy here, you can see that this guy is selected. So always try to check that there are matching curly brackets for every opening curly bracket, that there is a closing curly bracket. Okay, and one of the last things, again, if you use strings, make sure that you open and close your double quotes. So again, if I remove this double quote here, we're going to have a problem. You can see it actually even before you see the red bit there, that again, by default in my editor, the strings are usually in yellow. So again, this shouldn't be a string. This is a variable. So again, you can check visually that there is something missing. So again, I'm going to put my double quote there. Something else as well, if you were to copy code from somewhere else and it's using quotes, make sure they are straight quotes, okay? Because otherwise you can have a little problem there. So again, just make sure that you have that done properly. And I think that's about it. So again, those are the main mistakes. Again, for the next tutorials, I will show you maybe more possible mistakes that you might make, or more kind of challenging things that you might come across. But generally, if you can, make sure that you have the proper case for functions, for variables, and that basically you have also semicolons in the right locations, I think you'll be doing great. And I think the last thing as well is, again, whenever you create a class like this, make sure that all the code is inside the class. Okay, if you start writing code outside, we're gonna have a problem. So if you take this function, for instance, and put it outside the class, for instance, you can see that here it's telling you if the system is thinking that it's a namespace, because it doesn't actually expect a function to be declared outside the method, the class. So again, I'm going to take this, put it back, and that's it. And maybe one last thing, make sure you indent your code. So again, you can see that here I've got my class and my code, my variable declaration, my function. Within the function, and then I will actually indent my code. So whenever you add a new code block, a block of code there, make sure that you indent your code properly as well, and that will actually save you a few headaches, and it makes it also very easy, or it makes it easier to check that all your curly brackets, all your open curly brackets have a matching closing bracket.